I picked it up on a Friday, had to deliver it on a Monday. On that Monday, school was out, so no one was there. And the guy stops on the forklift and the whole cobalt machine falls over and hits the pavement.
Welcome to This Week in Trucking. We talk to serious trucking and transportation professionals and share real numbers about what it takes to make it in this industry. Today, I'm talking to John Russell to talk about his cargo van business, J&K Russell's Trucking. Thank you so much for being here, John.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, tell me about J&K Russell's Trucking. What are you guys all about?
Man, J&K Russell's Trucking is, the funny thing is I have my friends, they often say, why do you have trucking in your business name, but you drive a cargo van? I pretty much did that because I can see a future to where I have a fleet that's more than just cargo van.
Sure.
Eventually I could jump up to box trucks or 53-foot trucks. So that's the reason why I went with trucking. I didn't want to just be in the cargo van space and only cargo van space. So that's where the name came from. And the J is for me, of course, John. The K is for my son, Kingston. If he wants it down the road, I can pass the business on to him. I'm excited to be able to do something like that with my son.
That's beautiful.
Who's only 6 years old right now.
Oh, okay. So he's not driving for you.
Yeah, he's not driving right now. No.
What does he say? Do you ever ask him like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? Does he talk about your business yet? Or?
No, he don't care about the business right now.
He'll get there.
Yeah, he'll eventually get there. My wife tells me I still have to pay him, but yeah.
Nice. So tell me about the operation. How many vehicles do you have? How many do you run in the business?
So I only have one cargo van. I am the driver myself. And eventually down the road, I could see myself hiring a driver. But as of right now, I'm the driver for the company. Yeah.
All right. So what we like to do on this show is to take a look at the numbers of what it takes to run one of these businesses. We're going to be using Trucker Calculator to find out what the cost of running your business looks like and how much we're bringing in. Just as quick disclaimer to our viewers and listeners, if you hear or see any numbers on here that don't match yours or seem way too low or way too high, please remember that there are so many things that can impact how much it costs to run a trucking company and what kind of money you're bringing in for a transportation business, right? Keep in mind about the type of equipment we're running, whether or not it's paid off, when you bought your vehicle, if you're renting your vehicle, all of these things, the way that you're running your business. At the end of the day, what we care about is making a profit and taking care of ourselves and our loved ones. So that's what our goal is. We don't need to criticize or uphold somebody for a very specific way of running their business. There are lots of ways of running a trucking business, and we're going to talk about one of those ways. Let's start off with how many miles you run in a particular week. How many miles would you say is average?
So right now I'll go off of last week. Last week I had a pretty good week. I drove about 1,200 miles.
Yes. Yeah. Is that pretty typical for a cargo van business, do you think?
It depends. So for me, I run more of like regional. So I stay in the Southeast region. So the farthest I've been is Oklahoma City. Other than that, I'm pretty much up the East Coast, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina. The farthest I've been up north is Wisconsin, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Yeah.
That's a trek. Where are you based? In Atlanta?
I'm based right outside of Atlanta.
Yeah.
In McDonough, Georgia. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Atlanta to Green Bay. That's no joke. That's cross country. Nice. So how many days did you work in that week?
I worked Monday through Friday. So I was fortunate to have a load every day last week, which is the first time that I've done that.
Nice.
Normally, I don't get many loads on Fridays, but I was fortunate to get a load pretty much every day last week.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. And how much did you bring in for running those 1,200 miles?
In 1,400.
All right.
Right.
Let's get into the trickier stuff, which is the cost of doing that. So we've brought in our total revenue is 1,400. We've worked 5 days and the total miles that we've run is 1,200. Let's talk about truck payment, or in this case, cargo van payment. When did you get your cargo van and how much did it cost? And are you still paying that?
Okay. I got my cargo van. The crazy thing is I signed for it on February the 29th last year. So leap year.
Okay.
2024. I pay right around not 3,000, right around 30,000 for my van. It's a 2017. It's used. When I purchased it, it had right around 104,000 miles on it.
Got it. And did you take out a loan to pay for that? Did you pay for it in cash?
No, I paid a down payment. My monthly bill is $715, so $715.
So we're looking at about $180 a week if we spread that out weekly. Obviously, the payment is going to be monthly, but that's about 15 cents per mile. You don't have a trailer, obviously, because you run a cargo van. What about insurance? What does insurance look like for a cargo?
My insurance is around $950 right now.
Per month?
Per month, yes.
All right. And what does that cover? What kind of insurance do you have to have for a cargo van?
$1 million policy, 100,000 cargo.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then obviously you don't need trailer insurance. Do you have a dispatcher?
I do have a dispatcher. I have a dispatching company that actually reached out to me from my YouTube channel.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they wanted to collaborate with me. At the time, I wasn't able to because I was running for a carrier company that was exclusive. I couldn't work with anyone else. And so once I went on to my own and got my own MC, I reached back out to them and they actually helped dispatch loads.
Nice. So I know that's pretty typical in the cargo van business, right? Is to use a dispatcher. What kind of rates have you seen for dispatching services and what do you pay right now?
When I was working with Square One, the carrier company, they were exclusive and I was getting 78%. They were getting 22% of every load, as well as I was paying my insurance through them.
I see.
But now.
So that 22% covered insurance?
No.
Okay. You were just.
I had to pay insurance was separate. So their insurance was, I was paying $175 a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a little bit better of a deal than doing it on your own. But 22% is still.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I decided I wanted to go under my own MC, even though I haven't used my own MC because I'm using another carrier company and the dispatch company. But yeah, that 22% was a lot. I learned to do the math with editing my videos for my recaps at the end. Okay. So I knew if I did a load that made $450, I knew 78% of that was $390. And so I learned that. And 22% was a lot. Right now, the dispatch company that I work for, they allow me to do my own rates. If I see a load or if they contact me about a load that, let's say, is 300 miles, if I want to, I can bid 300 and I'll get the full $300.
Oh, okay. So are they working directly with brokers then to get their share?
Yes, they're working directly with.
So you send them your bid and then they put their bid on top of it. They put whatever they're going to make on top of it and they bid.
Yes.
Got it. So you don't really pay anything directly for dispatching. Like this total gross, this is what you are bringing in, and the dispatching fee is actually on top of this.
Yes, it's on top of that. So that's what I brought in.
Got it. What about anything for safety, compliance? Do you have any sort of auxiliary services that you use to manage your business?
I have Mile IQ.
What is Mile IQ?
Mile IQ calculates the miles that I run with my business. So it's like an electronic login device, but it just lets me know at the end of let's say a delivery, they may say, hey, you drove 350 miles from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Was that business or was that personal? And so I just mark that as business. And that helps me when it comes to tax season to know exactly how many miles I ran with my van. So
how much does that run you? Is that a monthly cost?
It's a SaaS product? I think it just went up to $6.99 a month. It was $5.99. I think it just went up $6.99.
Oh,
I'm mistaken. Yeah.
All right. So nothing. Totally negligible.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a hack.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to put $1.50.
Yep.
After a couple of technical difficulties, we're getting back into it. John, thank you so much for your patience.
No problem.
We were talking about this decision, wages and bonuses for an owner operator when you don't have drivers. Some people like to assign themselves a salary as the business owner or as the driver and then take anything else on top of that. And other owner operators just take whatever is left over after all the business expenses. How do you manage this?
I do the second option. Once everything is taken out, I just take what's left. I have been talking with a financial advisor and she did inform me that I should pay myself as well. Yeah,
Interesting. What was
She-
that she gave for that?
just to help with tax purposes, actually.
Okay.
And so I'm in the process of doing the numbers and figuring that out. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. So I would love to know, I think we're going to try and find a financial advisor or planner who works with trucking business owners, because that would be such a good conversation for people to
Right.
have. In one of our last videos, someone commented to say, hey, you're talking to owner operators and you're talking about their take home, but that's not actually their take home. Their take home is after taxes. So we'll get into that at the end of this. Right now, we're just talking about the business. What does
Right.
the business make? And then after, of course, as an owner operator, as a business owner, you have to pay taxes on your income,
Right,
and that
right.
that business income counts as your income if you're the business owner. Would you say that you're running under your own authority right now, or are you running under someone else's leased on?
So right now I am letting my authority mature, my MC mature. I found out quickly jumping in the load board that a lot of the brokers are currently only working with people that MC is mature, at
Right.
least 3 to 6 months. Some have said 6 to 12 months.
Wow.
So yes, so I had to go back to the carrier company and the dispatching company. So right now, when they do find me loads, I'm running under their MC, but I do have mine and I'm letting mine mature.
And anything that they are making on top of that's just on top of that 1400, right? So that's why that we're still using 1400 as our main gross. It might be
Right.
higher once you get to use your own authority for everything.
Exactly. Yes.
All right, let's talk about other expenses like fuel. Does your van run on gasoline, diesel, and how much do you pay? How many gallons? do you
Gasoline.
typically buy? Gasoline. And how many gallons of
Gasoline,
gas
yes.
did you go through last week?
I'm not sure on how many gallons. I would have to go back and look at the numbers, but
Do you know what fuel mileage you get for your van?
yes, right around in between. Highway is anywhere from 20 to 25 miles per gallon.
Wow. All right.
Yep.
So if we so that's highway. How many of your miles are highway miles, do you think?
Out of the 1,200, I would say probably at least 1,000.
Okay. So
Okay.
mostly
Yeah.
we're not.
Most of it is highway.
Okay. So let's take 20 then as our average
Sure.
and the conservative end of the estimate that you said. So if we get 20 miles to the gallon and we had 1,200 miles, then that's going to be about 60 gallons.
Okay.
All right. And then how much do you usually pay for fuel? Do you have an idea of that?
Fuel, I would say it depends. Because right now with fuel is about anywhere from $2.79 to $3 for me right now. Roughly anywhere from $60 to $70 for a full tank.
For a fill.
Yeah.
So if we take the middle of that, you said 279 to 3, we'll take 290.
Yeah, we'll do 290.
So that's about $174.
Yep.
And then how about tolls? You said that you hit up the Northeast
Yes.
or the Atlantic coast. So I know that the tolls around there can be pretty high, but for a cargo van, what do those tolls look like?
So for the Wisconsin trip, even though that won't be included in last week, because last week I didn't have any. So that 1,400, yeah, I didn't have any tolls for that.
Nice. So what about maintenance? What do you have to do every month, quarter?
Maintenance is more so right now is just oil change, just making sure my oil change is good. And for the most part, that's my maintenance is oil change right now.
And how often do you have to get oil changed and how much does that cost?
I do every 5,000 miles. I also learned after the 5,000 miles, to check my own oil. At times, I can go a little longer before I get another oil change.
Okay.
But right around that 5,000 to 6,000 miles.
So probably
and
like once a month,
once a month
maybe every 6 weeks, depending on how long you've
running.
done.
Yeah. Yes.
How much does it cost, or do you do your own oil changes?
My oil change costs $75.
Okay. It's pretty manageable if we take 75. Let's say we take 75 divided by 4 weeks, 19 bucks. Do you save anything additionally for maintenance? Like a rainy day fund where you might need something bigger?
At times I do.
Okay.
Sometimes I do when I do have a chance to, but some weeks aren't as good as others.
Sure.
So sometimes I may put money to the side depending on how much I made that week.
Got it. Looks like you have about a 56% profit margin. So for last week, you worked 5 days. The profit per day was about $158. Your cost per mile looks like about 50 cents. And your rate per mile is 117. So that's breaking down all of these costs. Obviously, this is all estimate back of the
Right.
napkin, what you
Right.
can remember. These might not be really precise calculations here, but is there anything in here when looking at these numbers? Is there anything here that like surprises you? How often do you do this kind of calculation for your business?
I have worked with Trucker Pocket,
Nice.
and it's very similar to this.
Interesting.
And yes,
Oh, cool.
I've worked with Trucker Pocket. You can also add in your actual business bank account, and it actually categorizes everything. So it categorizes how much you spend in fuel, how much you spend on entertainment, how much you spend on maintenance.
Fascinating. Thanks again, John, for sharing
No problem.
all of that information with us about your business. Can you tell us a little bit more about what inspired you to start your cargo van business and what you're thinking about it for the future?
Yeah. So I was working regular 9 to 5. I was working for an insurance company. I had been there going on 10 years. And to be honest, I have been passed over for a promotion 4 times.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was becoming pretty depressing. It was rough times, and I knew for my mental health, it was best for me to leave and find something else to do. The cargo van business, the trucking business initially wasn't the plan, but it was something that I loved doing. I started out doing a gig app with GoShare. And so I was delivering furniture, TVs, paintings, and I enjoyed it, but that was just like a part-time thing whenever I can to make extra money. And my wife was talking to me and she was like, you say you enjoy making deliveries. And I have actual 2 family members that are also in the trucking business. And I talk to them often, and they were telling me how they love what they do. They make their own hours. They're making really good money. And after that 4th promotion I was passed on, I was like, it's time.
Yeah.
And so I love driving. I love traveling. I love seeing new sights, and my adventure has been pretty great so far. I've seen a lot, and that's what really got me into the trucking business, is doing a little bit with the gig app, and it manifests and all the way up to actually having my own business now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So describe for me a little bit about the things that you learned or the things that surprised you when you first started your own business.
The biggest one that I'm still somewhat dealing with, the FMCSA, is because I have a cargo van, me not knowing, I selected van, not knowing that in the trucking world, a van is a 53-foot. Yes.
Such a small semantic
Yeah. And
difference.
so I selected van, and I've been having to go back and forth and fill out forms to get that changed, and it's been a headache, but we get it done. That's one big thing. And I had to learn, I guess I would call it truckers on the road.
Okay. Yeah. Etiquette.
Yeah, etiquette. My van is a commercial vehicle. The big rigs, the big truck drivers, I'm sure they feel as if I'm in a commercial van, I should know the rules, and I've been chewed out. They've blown the horn at me, and fussed at me while I'm driving. So that was one of the things that I've learned, the proper way of moving around while driving. Not to just, if I see it open, and not to just cut in front of a semi truck. When I had something heavy in the back, I want to say I've done close to 115 loads, and I've probably almost half of them have been anywhere from 1 pound to 50 pounds. The heaviest I've had was around 23 to 2,400 pounds.
Wow.
And I learned quickly that you have to start stopping a lot earlier when you have heavier.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was another big thing that I learned quickly, was when you have heavy cargo, you have to be mindful and make sure that you're stopping or starting to stop a lot earlier. Yeah.
Tell me do you have any memories or stories about like crazy loads or situations that you've been in? Like out of those 115, what's the funniest or?
I would say the cobalt machine. I picked up a cobalt machine. I didn't know what that was, but apparently it's like a robot for like medical things. Yes. I picked it up on a Friday, had to deliver it on a Monday, which was the first time I did that. I was able to go home, park my van, lock my van up, and sit there until Sunday. And I had to deliver it Monday morning. But I had to deliver it to a school in Tennessee. First time delivering freight to a school. And on that Monday, school was out, so no one was there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so no one was there. I sat there, talked to my dispatcher, and the librarian stopped by to get something from the library. I spoke with her. She got me in contact with the person that actually purchased the Cobalt machine, and he wasn't able to come until the next day. Yeah. And so I informed him that, unfortunately, for me having to stay, it would cost more money. And so he offered to bring his tractor to unload it, and I didn't feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
And I agreed to drive to Knoxville, which was like another 80 miles maybe. Yeah, I drove to Knoxville, and they went to unload me, but the cargo needed an extension for the forklift. And so they wasn't able to unload me. So we went to a nearby John Deere factory. They didn't have an extension. We went to another facility, which they did have an extension. So they were able to unload me finally. So I got unloaded, and they told me I could go back to the original facility to get my BOL paperwork signed, and they would bring it over. And so I took a picture of it out of my van. I drive to get my paperwork done, and I get it done, and I see them driving it, and the guy stops on the forklift, and the whole Cobalt machine falls over and hits the pavement. Not to mention, the customer told me that it costs $80,000.
Oh my God.
Yes. Oh, man.
But after that, it's out of your hands, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So once it was out of my van, it was out of my hand. And I actually took a picture, and I recorded them picking it back up just for my sake, because it's an $80,000 machine.
that was smart of you to be documenting that. You didn't know that they were going to be irresponsible or careless with something. So the fact that you had proof that it exited your vehicle without a scratch is probably really important. Did you have to fight that? Did the company
No, I didn't.
want you to pay for it? No, they handled it.
No, so I reached back. Once that happened, I reached back out to my dispatching company, and I let them know, hey, I just saw them drop this machine. And also, because I have a YouTube channel, I had recorded them unloading me, and it was perfectly fine. So that was one of the times that I was glad that I'm actually a content creator.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because I pretty much have proof on every load that I do. So yeah, I would say that one was the craziest.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine that. When did that happen? Was it pretty soon after you started?
Yes, I would say that was maybe 3 months in, maybe.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. If not sooner. Probably it was sooner than 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm assuming then your advice for new carriers is just start a YouTube channel, even if you don't.
Yes. Even if you really don't want to, I would say if you can, just record everything. It's definitely came in handy for me. And recording and being a content creator on YouTube actually brings in another income for me now.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're just starting to get your business off the ground in the last year or so. What do you see for the future of Jane?
More. I eventually would love to, down the road, no time soon, probably in another year or two, to get another van or expand and maybe get a box truck and go with that. I would love to. I'm all about helping people. When I started my YouTube channel, it was just I want to be a content creator. When I did my research on becoming a owner operator, for the most part, I watched a lot of other owner operators that were doing content on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that motivated me to, hey, I can do this too. And once I started posting videos, my first video I ever posted is almost at 65,000 views.
Wow.
Yeah. And I quickly learned that a lot of people are looking to get into this business, and they are reaching out. They see my videos. They see how transparent I am. I may say I made $300, but after gas and after the dispatch percentage, you'll see, I made $300, but I only really profited $175. And so they reach out to me, and now I'm doing more of an educational thing where I'm helping other people that want to get into this business. And yeah, I think that is one thing where I see myself going as well, is helping be like a consultant to help other people that want to get into this business be successful. I'm thankful to be able to continue to do this. On the last video that I haven't posted it, but one of the lows that I did on March the 21st last week, that made a full year for me. And I was super excited. I know, and I've heard of a lot of people that don't make it a year in this business. And so to be able to make it a year was a big milestone for me. So I'm
Definitely.
excited about more. And yeah,
Congratulations on that
Thank you.
first year.
Thank you.
Having your authority aged, that's going to be
Right.
another milestone, right? And then
Right,
you'll be able
right.
to book your own loads and start really
Yeah.
creating more relationships with your customers. Thank you so much again. Thank you for your transparency. There are so many people that on this platform and many platforms that talk
Right.
about how much money they're making, but they don't
Right.
always talk about the cost of how much it
Yeah.
costs to actually run that
Yeah.
operation. So appreciate your transparency and your time. Thank you so much for joining us on this week
No
of Trucking,
problem.
John.
No problem at all. Thank you all for having me.
All right, drive safe, everybody.